All right, this is Miss Pierce again with story time for this week. And today our book is Clark the Shark, written by Bruce Hale. And this is a story that a lot of our pre-K, kindergarten, and first graders especially like. But personally, I think it's a great book for anyone. Clark the Shark. In all the wild blue seas, in all the wild blue world, the top school for fish was Theodore Roosterfish Elementary. In all of the fish at Theodore Roosterfish, the biggest and the strongest was Clark the Shark. Clark loved school, and he loved his teacher, Mrs. Inky Dink. He loved to play upsy downsy and spin him a jig with his friends. Clark loved his life. "School is awesome!" shouted Clark the Shark. "Less shouting and more reading," said Mrs. Inky Dink. "Lunchtime is sweet!" yelled Clark the Shark. "Munch your own lunch," said his best friend Joey Mackerel. "Recess rocks!" bellowed Clark the Shark. "You're playing rough, Clark," cried the other kids. Yes, Clark loved his life with all of his sharky heart, but he loved everything way too much. He was too loud, he was too wild, and he was just too much shark for the other fish to handle. After a while, no one would play with Clark. No one would eat lunch with him. No one sat with him at circle time. And even his best friend, Joey Mackerel, said, "Cool your jets, Clark. You're making me crazy." One day, Clark asked Mrs. Inky Dink, "What's wrong with everybody?" Mrs. Inky Dink patted his fin. "Clark, sometimes you play too hard. You munch too hard. And gosh, you even help too hard." "But life is so exciting," said Clark. "There's a time and a place for everything," she said. "And sometimes the rule is to stay cool." At recess, Clark tried to stay cool, but he pushed the swing with too much zing. "Sorry," said Clark, "I forgot." "Yikes!" cried Joey Mackerel. At lunch, Clark tried to stay cool, but everything smelled so good that he munched a bunch of lunches. "Sorry," said Clark, "I forgot." "We're starving," said his friends. In class, Clark tried to stay cool, but a good book got him all shook up. "Now, Clark," said Mrs. Inky Dink, "this isn't the time or the place. Tell me, what's the rule?" "Stay cool," said Clark. "Hey, that rhymes," he cried. Then Clark got a big idea in his sharky head. "Maybe if I make a rhyme, I'll remember every time," he thought. The next day, he put his plan to work. In class, when lessons got exciting, Clark wanted to bounce up out of his seat. Instead, he told himself, "When teacher's talking, don't go walking." And what do you know? It worked. "Attaboy," Mrs. Inky Dink said. Clark smiled. Lessons are fun. At lunch, everything smelled so yummy. When Clark wanted to eat and never stop, he told himself, "Only munch your own lunch." And it worked again. "Way to go, Clark," said his friends. Clark grinned. Lunch is fun. At playtime, Clark told himself, "Easy does it, that's the way. Then my friends will let me play." And playtime was fun. Once more, Clark loved his life. But then a shadow fell across the playground. A ginormous shadow with tentacles galore. "It's a new kid and he looks scary," cried Joey Mackerel. "Swim for your lives!" The squid squashed the slide and it snapped off the swings. "Oops, my bad," said the new kid. "Wait," said Clark. "He just wants to play. Let's find a way." And he swam at the new kid with all of his might. Clark played harder than he ever had before. Upsy-downsy and spin-em-a-jig. Why, he even made up a new game. Tail Wumpa-Lumpus. "Wow, that was fun," said the new kid breathlessly as he settled down. "If you want to come to school, you've got to stay cool," said Clark. "That's right, Clark," said Miss Inky Dink. "And thanks for taking care of our new classmate, Sid the Squid." "Hooray for Clark the Shark," everyone said. That night, Clark's mother asked, "What did you learn at school, dear?" "There's a time and a place for everything," Clark said. "And sometimes you stay cool." And that was Clark the Shark. And I hope you enjoyed it. I hope all of our students, maybe this is something fun. And hopefully we're going to have a lot more teachers that are reading to you on Facebook each week. So if you'd like to, comment in the link below and tell us either what book you would like to hear read or which teacher you would like to do the video next. We want to hear what you have to say. Thanks, parents.